"Don't stray far,"
says the mother to her child.
"We don't have much farther to go."
Simon stopped to smell a flower. The sweet scent tickled his nose. He looked deeper into the woods. Something shimmered. His curiosity got to him, and he stepped off the beaten path. Was that a grove of rickleberry trees? His favorite. As he stepped into the grove, he took his first bite. Oh, so sweet. Something caught his eye, and he looked up. A spider-like monster landed on his back, and he felt two sharp, piercing teeth enter his neck. His whole body went numb.
"Simon, where are you?"
shouted his mother off into the distance.
"Simon!"
Dracons are a sentient race of dragon centaurs that have recently appeared in the known spheres. Dracon ships have been spotted in the phlogiston at the edges of known space and are just beginning to appear in smaller communities. A Dracon is centaur in appearance, the body of a brontosaurus, the torso and arms of a human, and the head of a dragon. Its feet are flat like an elephant, and it has a long snake-like tail. Its hands have 6 digits, 5 fingers and a thumb, and end in claws. They speak their own language and that of dragons. They also speak common, haltingly, with a thick accent. Dracons will be found in modified galleons in space with spelljamming helms. They consider themselves civilized and have a dueling code. Under this code, one can challenge another. The challenge get the choice of weapons, be it swords or bare hands. The challenger then names the terms of the battle, be it death, the first to hit blood, to become bloodied, or to fall 3 times. Finally, the challenge names the place and time, within reason. The Dracon use these codes among themselves and do not offer them to non-Dracons. Should an individual outside the race try to offer these terms, the Dracon would be honor-bound to adhere to them, within reason. The Dracon will not accept this challenge from a mind flayer. They use a thin-bladed longsword in combat, but are also adept at wrestling. They have long thumb claws that make them particularly dangerous. They also carry large darts with a range of 20 to 40 to 60 yards, and halberds. The last is useful in space for a grappling hook, but is not used in combat often. Dracons are adequate blacksmiths, equal to the elves, but not as skilled as the dwarves. They wear armor into battle, thus improving their armor class. The vegetarian Dracons follow a strong herd instinct among their people, which carries through into space. A lone Dracon is a rarity and a freak among its people, and the Dracon prefer to travel in familial units, headed by the eldest Dracon, male or female. Dracons separated from their family will become sick unless they find a method of recreating a family unit, and individuals have been known to adopt a non-Dracon as a pseudo-family member. Dracons are stuffy and passive, more content to retreat than to fight. There are exceptions, in particular to Dracons who have adopted humanoids into their family unit. A leader of a Dracon herd is called a Kaba. A Kaba is determined not by the strongest nor the swiftest, but by a means of a system of kinship relationships that borders on the mystical. Dracons love genealogy. It can trace one Dracon to another in a fashion that determines who rules the Dracon herd. Cynical non-Dracons believe the Dracons make up the relationships on the spur of the moment, relating old slights or favors in their attempts to determine precedence. If such is the case, this method of dealing with leadership shows that the quick thinking and the crafty will tend to survive. The Kaba of the herd is assisted by a Shala, or a high priest. Each herd, no matter how small, has a Shala, usually clerical powers. The Shala is the keeper of the ritual, the advisor of the Kaba, and the healer of the people, if they have such. The Dracon are a pantheistic religion that worships Dracon equivalents of human, dwarven, and elven gods. They have gods of war, fertility, storms, and sea. Unlike the human gods, the Dracon gods are always pictured together in a huge herd, moving together and led by an Kala, or full leader. The Kala is a god of leadership and wisdom, and knows the correct course in every situation. To be called an Kala by a Dracon is considered a high honor, for your decision-making is compared favorably with the Dracon thoughts. When Dracon herds meet up, the first order of business is to determine who is the Kaba of the entire group, empowered to make decisions. This is done in an odd fashion of relationships and favors exchanges between groups. There is no shame for a deposed Kaba taken from his post by a new Kaba that outranks him. The position is a duty, and the reward of such duty is that someone more powerful will come along and give you a rest. The Dracons all originated from the same planet and have just begun their first steps into the stars. Dracon ships resemble old seaborne clunkers favored by groundlings, with higher ceilings. According to them, their homeworld is a dry, arid orb with two types of terrain: fast-growing grass and desert. The climate is in continual flux, such that the herds are forced to move and cooperate in order to survive. There seems to be no natural enemies on their homeworld. There are tales of a spider-like dark god that lies beneath the sand and pops up to trap the youngsters that stray too far from their parents. This boogeyman may be a real creature or product of the herd mentality. The Dracon faith makes heavy use of the imagery of the dark god as an enemy and a tempter. The semblance between this dark god and the spider-like Nyogi may have a coincidence or a result of real encounters with the slaving race. Whatever the cause, the Dracon hates spiders. In general, the Nyogi in particular. The Dracon world is large, shallow seas, and at least one large moon. Beyond that, they are reluctant to share more information about their homeworld, perhaps in fear of other races finding them out. One suggestion has been made that a Dracon ships encountered so far are lost and do not know how to get back to their homeworld. Another is that Dracons are cautious about strangers, given a lack of known predators. It may be that there are few creatures on their planet, and they are unwilling to encourage other visitors until they are ready. Dracon relationships with the humans, mind flayers, elves, and dwarves are cordial and curious. All these races are lumped under the word the deformed, and the Dracons, usually very good at sorting out their differences, often ascribe human traits to elves and elven traits to dwarves. They can never figure out who operates the big rock ships. Lizardmen get along very well with the Dracons and are often adopted into their larger families as disabled, smaller relatives. Centaurs and other similar creatures are considered long-lost allies. They hate the Nyogi, putting the Dracons in good stead with other races, but considered the Beholders comical. Beholder jokes make the rounds among Dracons, comparing them to large kickballs used in ritual games on their homeworld. How long this situation lasts remains to be seen. The race of Dracons holds dragons in awe. The Shala have declared dragons to be the messengers of the gods, and their actions are watched carefully for signs of the gods' wants and intentions. Dracons are an interesting race of dinosaur, dragon, and centaur. Pretty open-ended on how to be used. How would you utilize them in your game? Please like and subscribe for more videos, and thank you.